Yeah, what's good, everyone? Thanks for dropping by tonight. Appreciate you guys taking the time. As you guys can see in the title of the live stream, it's going to be a crispy one tonight. Uh, Something that I was trying to avoid, but it's just getting to the point where I feel like I have to leave my thoughts. So once again, appreciate everyone dropping by. Tania Marie in the building, first one to leave a comment. I appreciate you. Make sure when you come in, you swoop in, hit the like button as we get this conversation started. Devontae Moss was good. Just going to wait a few moments and allow people to get their notifications so they can come in and join the conversation. Yave in the building. Always good to see you. Karma Boxing MMA. What's good, man? Alfred. Yeah, we're going to talk about it, man. We're going to talk about it. Like I said, if you just joined, my intention was not to talk about this topic, man, to be honest with you. But it's just getting to the point now where it's just getting a bit ridiculous because now it's just not, Mayweather saying what he said, but now Malik Scott's name is starting to be dragged through the media as well. And Deontay Wilder's name continues to be dragged through the media. The fight has been done now for well over a week, and we're supposed to be moving on. But for whatever reason, people can't move on. And it's funny because we get accused of making excuses and not letting it go and all this different stuff. But, I said my piece about the fight, and I've already tried to make prediction videos of other fights coming up and trying to move on. But yet, people still talking about it. People are still talking about this shit, man. And it's not just, here's a little quick update. It's more and more things being dropped in the media, man. I see a lot of channels talking about this. My man Crowd in the building. Stormy B-Man in the building, dropping in those custom emojis of Wilder, man. That's what's up. We're just waiting a few moments and allowing people to get their notifications so they can jump in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button on the way in, as always. We got a poll at the top of the chat here. Let me know what you feeling right now. Did Mayweather sneak diss Wilder in his post about Mark Breland? Let me know your thoughts in the chat. In the chat and in the poll. And we're going to talk about it. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. As much as I want to wait and allow people to come in here, I've been having a lot of difficulties with YouTube and people getting their notifications. It's an ongoing battle right now. I don't know. Stormy's in here. I don't know if you've been experiencing the same thing lately, but it seems like there's a massive discrepancy with people getting notified and dropping into our live streams. It's quite crazy. But it is what it is. We got to push through the drama and the BS. First thing I want to talk about is the topic at hand, and that is Mayweather saying what he has said on his Instagram. And, you know, I'm going to pull it up here just to remind people of exactly what he said. Now, you know, he never did mention Wilder by name. He didn't mention Malik Scott by name. And I've heard some channels out here, you know, say like, oh, man, you're overthinking it. You know, Mayweather's just showing respect to a great trainer and a great man. Well, it's rather convenient for him to do that, you know, a week after the fight and a week after Wilder loses to Fury. But you know what I mean? Like, to Stormy B Man's point in here is that Mayweather's always disliked Wilder. And here's my thing is DP rocking the building. What's good, man? Thanks for dropping by tonight. Here's my biggest issue as I get this conversation started. Make sure, guys, when you come in, hit that like button. Every like matters. Right. So here's my biggest issue with Mayweather making the comments that he's made. It's not necessarily him making a comment about Mark Breland. I don't really care too much about that. The timing seems a bit coincidental. And I was thinking to myself, well, what if Wilder actually won the fight? What if Wilder actually knocked Tyson Fury out? He got a couple extra seconds on that second knockdown in the fourth round. You know what I mean? Like, what would he say then? I don't know if he would have had the same energy. Maybe, maybe not. Y'all can Razor, what's good? Cristiano, what's good? Y'all can give me your thoughts in the chat here on what you think Mayweather would have said if Wilder would have actually won the fight. But like I said, it's rather convenient that Wilder ended up losing the fight. A week later, he drops a post about Mark Breland. But I don't really, that doesn't really bother me that much. You know, if he wants to give a shout out to Mark Breland, whatever. You know what I mean? Whatever floats his boat. But this is my issue. He's always like not thought very much about Wilder. And I get it, right? And I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment. Joshua, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by tonight. Make sure you guys hit that like button as soon as you come in. Andrew Charles in the building. Hit that like button. Get those likes all the way up. Let's do it. Now, I get it, right? I get the whole idea that playing devil's advocate, okay? I get the idea that Mayweather is like this technical boxer, defensive genius, one of the best to ever do it, and this and that, which I don't argue that. Those who know me from yesteryears, from years back on YouTube, back in 09, 10, you know, I was probably one of the biggest Floyd Mayweather fans on here. Boxing-wise, stylistically-wise, and what he's able to do in the ring is phenomenal. Like, I would have him top 3 easily as one of the best fighters of this generation, and easily a part of the all-time greats, boxing-wise. But I've always openly criticized him in regards to how he acts outside of the ring and the things that he said and has conducted himself. And there's a fine line between putting business before boxing, and he's always kind of tried to do a teeter-totter with that or balancing act or juggling act with those two things, boxing and the business side of things. And when you get into the business side of things, you're going to muddy the water, and you can potentially say and do dumb shit. Willie Beecham, man, what's good? Glad you made it tonight. TS Boxing. Yeah. So I get the idea that he's a technical boxer. He's a tactician genius in the ring, and he prefers a beautiful, sweet science style. And he doesn't like Wilder's style because Wilder's not a technician. Wilder doesn't have all the skill sets that Mayweather has. He's a big puncher, and Mayweather made a career out of beating guys who were big punchers, right? I think we can all agree on that. So, on a boxing standpoint, it's like, oh, you don't like him, fine, but I have to remind everybody that he's never liked Wilder. This is not something that came out of. I mean, his statement about Mark Breland did come out of the blue. Like that, I was like, really? That's convenient. A week after the fight, you're gonna now show love to Mark Breland, which to me, it wasn't necessarily a sneak diss to Wilder. It was more of a diss to Malik Scott, because Mayweather has never liked, as I said, Wilder and his style, right? But when you bring up Mark Breland, then it's kind of to me it's a taking a shot at Malik Scott. Now I know Malik Scott has came out and said, "Oh, I didn't take it personal. It is what it is. I don't care." But for me, that was my initial reaction, was like a taking a shot at Malik Scott, which then segues the conversation into, is Malik Scott a hype man? Right? Bringing Malik Scott into Deontay's camp, was that a good idea and now a bad idea? Because now that Mayweather has now gave a shout out to Mark Breland, people are then taking the spotlight and shining it on Malik Scott and saying, yeah, maybe Wilder made a mistake by getting rid of Breland, and he brings in Malik Scott, and Malik Scott's just a hype man. These are the things that people are saying on their channels out here. So, like I said, I've heard it enough now to where now I want to come on here and give my thoughts about it. C. Wood in the building. Now, for me, I always had this thought process about Mayweather. Never criticizing his skill set and what he's accomplished in the sport. And a lot of people may not even agree with me on that. A lot of people believe that he was a manufactured champion. He cherry picked and whatever. I mean, we can have a debate. That's a separate debate. But he has this thing about him where he's like this man child sometimes. He acts like a little kid. The dude is a grown ass man. His children now are like young adults. And the way that he talks sometimes in interviews and when he makes social media posts, it's like, really, bro? How old are you again? You talking and acting like a kid. And to me, the shout out to Mark Breland, I'm saying it right now on the record, to me was a sneak diss, not really to Wilder, because that's not a secret. He's never liked Wilder, but a sneak diss towards Malik Scott. And him acting like a man-child again, trying to get attention. It's like you've made the most money in the sport of boxing of all time, broke pay-per-view numbers, robbed the bank fighting McGregor and Logan Paul and that dude in Japan and whatever. You're rich. Your kids are going to be rich, well off, and your grandkids are probably set up for life. So what more attention do you need? And not to mention, you got Tank Davis, who you're pushing through in his career, and you're in the backdrop of Tank Davis saying what you're saying, promoting him. So you got a lot of things going for you. So I just don't understand. Somebody please explain to me on why he would make a post giving a shout out to Mark Breland. Like I said, to me, it's a straight up sneak diss to Malik Scott. And that's my opinion. And I'm willing for anybody to challenge that opinion. But that's just how I feel about it. DP Rocker says money can't buy you happiness, and that is fact. That is absolute fact. Look, man, I appreciate everybody dropping by, listen to this conversation tonight. I know it's late for some of you, and I appreciate you guys more than ever. Like I said, coming in, smashing that like button, get the likes up, supporting the channel, all of my official members. I appreciate you guys a lot. So if you're just joining, we're just sitting here talking about the current situation of Mayweather saying what he said, or not saying what he said in particular, but basically dropping a post on Instagram and giving a shout out to Mark Breland. And let me say this again for people who just joined. I don't care that he gave a shout out to Mark Breland. If he likes Mark Breland, great. He thinks Mark Breland was a great champion, great. He thinks Mark Breland was a fantastic trainer, great. But once again, isn't it rather convenient that he does it a little over a week after the fight was done and Wilder lost the fight? I mean, let's be honest here. Floyd Mayweather is sneak dissing. That's the only way that I see it. Why he feels like he needs to continue to be relevant in the sport is beyond me. Like I said, the man of his wealth and the things that he has done in the sport and being a promoter now, and he's going to continue to make money well into his late years. So it just doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't really make sense to me. Now, let me shift gears a little bit and go ahead and remind everybody what Mayweather said exactly in his post, giving a shout out to Mark Breland. All right. So, I'm going to blow this up a little bit. This is on Instagram. I know you guys can't read it. It's probably a bit too small for you. I'll blow it up a little bit here. All right. And right off the bat, I see my man David in here writing a comment. Which world champions have reached out since departure from Deontay? Hey, that's a cold dose of reality right there. Shout out to my man David. I don't know if he's listening right now. Maybe he'll drop by later. But look, let's go over what he said real quick. Floyd Mayweather drops a pic of Mark Breland on his Instagram. This is straight up on his Instagram page, people. A guy that has, I don't know what he has, like 10 million followers on Instagram. Anyways, he says, please hit the follow button if you want to follow a humble student, teacher, mentor, and a coach in the sport of boxing. He has all the credentials and qualifications to support why I recognize him as an elite boxing coach, something that nowadays many unqualified people claim to be. Follow Mark Breland. So that's what he said on his Instagram page. Now, look, like I said, if he thinks that Mark Breland is a fantastic trainer and he wants to give him a shout out, fine. But why didn't he do this before? Why is this now coming up after the fight is over and Wilder has lost? He's emphasizing words like qualified trainer. He's, to me, that's the word that stands out. And to me personally, I feel like it's a diss towards Malik Scott because he feels like Mark Breland was the guy who could possibly help Wilder develop the correct boxing skills, or I don't know, maybe he feels bad for Breland that now Wilder lost, and so now Breland's point has been proven that Wilder can't do as good without him or something like that. Like he didn't lose a second fight too. The people forgot about that. People forgot that Wilder lost the second fight too. And in my opinion, he did better in the third fight. So I don't really understand why people would feel sorry for Mark Breland in regards to you were fired after throwing in the towel or whatever, the allegations. I'm not going to even talk about that, but the simple fact that Wilder lost the fight and he got beat up in that fight. Wilder didn't even hurt Fury in that fight, right? And then Malik Scott comes in, and it's a great fight for, especially for casual fans, right? It's an exciting fight, 5 knockdowns. Wilder nearly won it. So a big difference here, and I don't understand how loud. Oh, see, Malik Scott came in and he didn't do nothing, and he's just a hype man. Mark Breland was the right guy for the job. So then the question is, Omega Red was good. So then the question is, okay, I know what you guys are going to say next. Oh, that's not Mark Breland's fault. That's Wilder's fault because Wilder doesn't listen to nobody. Right? It's not Mark Breland's fault. Mark Breland has been with him for a long time, and Mark Breland tried his best and all this different stuff. People like to save Mark Breland. And I've never came on here and said, oh, he was a terrible fighter, and oh, he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, or oh, he's a terrible person. I've never said that. As a matter of fact, I didn't even ever go as far as saying beyond a shadow of a doubt that, yeah, I know for a fact that he spiked the water. The fact is, I don't know for a fact if he did or not. What I do know is that Wilder didn't look normal from the first fight going forward through the fight. He didn't look normal. And that's what I said. I didn't say, oh, he didn't look normal because I know his water was spiked. You know, people want to put what I say in that box because they're so infuriated that Mark Breland has been treated this way. So, look, man, I don't have any resentment towards the man. I give him his credit where credit is due as a boxer and what he's accomplished in the sport. I'll take what a lot of people say in the media, saying he's a great man. You know, he's an ambassador of boxing. That's fine. I won't dispute that. But it doesn't change the fact that Mark Breland and Deontay Wilder didn't get along. Like I feel, and I don't mean to, I don't mean to go back into this conversation, but it's all intertwined because what is now being said by Mayweather, giving a shout out to Breland, right? Putting Mark Breland back into the spotlight while basically kicking Wilder while he's down. Let's be real here. Now, a lot of people say, oh, man, I don't feel sorry for Wilder at all. I don't feel sorry for him at all. He deserved this. I already know what you're thinking. But the man did something. I'm talking about Wilder. The man did something that you, the people criticizing Wilder and not feeling sorry for Wilder, and Wilder's a horrible person and he needs to apologize and you know, F Wilder and all this, but you would never dream of doing what this man just did in the third fight. You would never dream of accomplishing what Wilder has accomplished. So at the end of the day, you're a hater. Simple. You're a hater. And you can say, oh, I don't like him because what he did to Mark Breland. But people like to misconstrue the facts. People assume that Mark Breland was fired because Wilder thought that Breland spiked his water. That is not why Breland was fired. Breland was fired, to my knowledge, right after the fight or the next day after the fight or whatever it was, because Wilder felt like Breland crossed that code of honor or whatever you want to title it as and threw in the towel. Wilder couldn't accept it. And people also need to understand that they were having issues behind the scenes. Y'all can go talk to Tay Jones. He was in the camps. He knows this. They were having issues before the third fight even happened. So it's not like something like they were having a great relationship and everything was cool, and then he throws in the towel, and then Wilder's like, man, you're fired. That is not what happened. Now, the Wilder stuff came after Breland was already fired. So people don't have their timeline right, and people just want to feed into this negative energy. And quite frankly, I just feel like they don't like a man who has accomplished what he has accomplished in the sport and has said what he feels. It's like, at what point in life and society do we now say you're not allowed to speak how you feel? Keep it to yourself. This is the problem, right? This is the problem. Moped, what's good? Lee Pate, what's good? This is the problem with life right now and in society in 2021 going into 2022. And it's getting increasingly worse. There's these double standards and an immense amount of hypocrisy at the same time. People say, oh, you got these platforms, social media platforms, speak how you feel, let the people know. Or in real life, tell your boss how you feel, tell your partner how you feel, tell your friends how you feel. And then, you do it, and then it's like, oh, you said too much, or oh, you hurt my feelings. Everyone's overly sensitive now. People take it in the wrong way. They have these attachments to people, and they have attachments with their feelings. Because I'm going to tell you exactly what I thought and felt when I heard Wilder drop his video discussing the things about the egg weights and the gloves and the spiked water. Because at that period of time, I wasn't on YouTube yet. I was watching as a spectator. I hadn't created my channel yet. So I didn't have any agenda at all at that point. I wasn't making videos. So when I heard that, the way my objective mind works is the first thing that came into my head was, this is interesting. It wasn't, oh my God, Mark Breland, the dirty bastard, he's trying to cheat, Fury, the gloves. No, it was, that is interesting for Wilder to come out publicly and say the things that he said. And I get the fact that people are upset that there wasn't enough evidence brought forth. Videos aren't enough. Photos aren't enough. They can be photoshopped. They can be, manipulated to, I guess, segue into Wilder's conspiracy theories because he couldn't accept the loss. Okay. And more so than not, the water thing. People really, really got upset about that. But this is my problem. The oversensitivity, no open-mindedness, no like, this is interesting. Why is this man feeling this way? It's automatically like, you lost, accept your loss, and keep your mouth shut. That's what people want. And to me, that's the problem with growth and maturity within people. And people are not evolving. People are stagnant. People are staying in the same little box and circle that they have been for years. And it becomes increasingly worse as they get older. Because again, for me, it's like, that is interesting. I would like to hear more about this. I would like to know more about this. Why is Wilder feeling like this? Why is he saying these things? And it doesn't matter if it's Wilder or any other fighter. You lose a fight, right? And you hear things. It's not like Wilder woke up in the morning and was like, let me write a list of all the reasons why I think I lost a fight. People are going to him and saying, yo, look what we found. Yo, D, look what we found. Hey, champ, look what we found. Look at the things that are coming up. Yo, D, you said your legs were feeling weak before you entered the ring. You know what I'm saying? Before the first round even started. So, what do you think about this? and all of these things. And sure, he could have got overwhelmed with information. Sure, his emotions were at a high. Sure, he could have jumped to conclusions. But he has the right to feel the way that he feels and speak about how he feels. That is the problem, is people don't want to accept when people speak how they feel. It's like, it reminds me of being in a relationship, right? And the relationship is starting to go down a downward spiral, that maybe you're losing flair in the relationship, and you feel like there might be some infidelity, and you're trying to figure things out or whatever, right? It reminds me of a situation when you have a conversation with your partner and you're saying like, look, um, you know, can I really tell you how I feel? Are you going to be able to accept it? And if they say, yeah, tell me how you feel. And then you drop it on them. You say, well, look, let me break it down for you. This, and this. And then your partner freaks out. I can't believe you said this. I can't believe you would do this to me. And it's like, all it does is destroy the relationship even more. If you're not able to absorb criticism and absorb the truth, and even if you feel like it's not the truth, but you're not willing to have a conversation about it and say, I understand where you're coming from. Let's talk about it. If you're not able to do that, you ain't going nowhere in life. Period. And that's just my opinion. Yahweh, I appreciate you. He says, keep spitting the flame. Hey, look, I keep a lot of stuff inside, man. I really do. I keep a lot of stuff inside. And the reason why I keep a lot of stuff inside and not speak about it is because what I just said, people can't handle it, man. They can't handle it. They get upset. They start sneak dissing me too. And they like to do things out here like, there's this certain individual out here. I don't want to mention any names. But, it's this white dude on YouTube. It's this one guy over there, he's not even in the States. He's over there in Southeast Asia. They do, it's sneak dissing, bro. Like, literally what Mayweather's doing to Malik Scott and Wilder. This is how the channels operate out here. They think I'm stupid. They think I don't listen and hear things, right? That's funny. Out here acting like these people are grown-ass men and women acting like children. And that's exactly why I don't address them and I don't make videos about them, even though I'm tempted to do it. But that's how they talk out here. Leave little comments in the comment section. Leave little comments in live streams. It's like, really? It's like, hey, there's this guy over there. He's over there in Southeast Asia. Well, to my knowledge, there's only two people that are not in the States, that are Americans, that drop content about boxing, that are in Southeast Asia. Myself and Dante's Boxing Nation. So it's not hard to figure out. But it's fine. Sneak dissing. Hey, I'm used to it. I've been around long enough. That's how they operate. But look, I appreciate everyone dropping by. And if you're just jumping into this conversation, make sure you're hitting that like button. Let me know you're in the building. Drop a real quick comment, so I can give you a shout out. We got Hamilton Steele. He says, there's no proof Breland did anything to Wilder. He saved him from suffering a brutal KO in the second fight. Where's the proof? All right. So, Hamilton Steele, I don't know if you're subscribed to the channel. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt and say that you are. And you're coming in here with your comment with respect, and you're just giving your piece. Let me say this. I already said that I understand why people would get upset that there wasn't any hard evidence. I mean, hard evidence meaning that it's evidence that you can take to court, right? There wasn't any hard evidence that Wilder and his team had to prove that the water was actually spiked. I understand that. And I understand why people would get upset at that. And I never co-signed that. I never said that I know for a fact that the water was spiked. That didn't come out of my mouth. That came out of Wilder's mouth. And Wilder said what he said because that's the way he felt. Now, I understand people say, well, don't make accusations unless you have proof. People make accusations, allegations, suggestions, develop conspiracy theories without hard evidence every single day in life, right? Not to mention boxers. I mean, I can rattle off like 3 or 4 people off the top of my head right now who has made different suggestions, developed conspiracy theories, and created allegations for reasons on why they lost or why they felt the way they did and whatever have you. It has happened multiple times in the sport of boxing. But on a grand scale of things, in life, bro, in life, pretty much every day, every time I go on Facebook, I see some conspiracy shit. Every day I go on Instagram, I see conspiracy shit. Every day I walk down the street and I talk to somebody about whatever, and it can be about any sport. I just talked to a dude over here not too long ago, a couple days ago, because the NBA just restarted, right? And I'm a Phoenix Suns fan. I'm from the area. And this dude trying to tell me that, oh, the NBA was rigged to get the Phoenix Suns to the finals. And I'm like, what? But my thing is, I didn't say, well, you don't got no evidence, bro. Now, okay. People are saying, well, but yeah, Divine, man, like, you know, he's talking about water being spiked. That's a very tough and what's the word? Like very, yeah, it's just a very tough allegation to make against somebody. You know, you're accusing someone of manipulating and trying to poison you. Well, first off, let me say this, because a lot of people say poison. It's not poison. If you poison, he would have been throwing up. He would have been sick. He would have went to the hospital. The word that was brought into conversation through the interview with 78 Sports was that he felt that he was hit with some type of muscle relaxer. That is not being poisoned, right? But I told people that there are a lot of different reasons or things that could have happened for Wilder to feel the way he felt going into the second fight. He could have been low on electrolytes. He could have been dehydrated. He, could have ate something bad a couple nights before and it didn't digest well. He, could have had injuries. There's a lot of things that could have happened that made his legs weak the way that they were at the beginning of the fight. So a lot of people may say like, oh, Divine, it just sounds like a lot of excuses, bro. No, it's not excuses. What it is offering a different perspective. Instead of looking at the glass half empty or the glass half full, think about it this way. A man felt a certain way. He's had a guy in his camp who they've already butted heads. They've already had issues. It's not something that developed randomly or on the night of the second fight. The man throws the towel in when he's not supposed to throw the towel in. A conversation already discussed and already understood. And he doesn't really leave on good terms. And all these things happen. So for all the people out there saying, oh, Mark Breland is such a good man, this thing would never happen. So what you're telling me is, at no point in your life where you've had a friend or somebody who you thought that you can trust didn't do some shady shit to you? I don't know about you, but I've had it happen to me multiple times. Multiple times. Male and female. Someone you thought you can trust, someone you felt like you can tell them anything. And then they backstab you. So it's not a far-fetched idea. Some guy can make you feel a certain way. Now, have I been in a situation where I had a friend who backstabbed me and we decided not to be friends anymore for whatever the case may be, and then somebody else says, hey, man, like, I know you all ain't friends anymore, but guess what? I also heard that he slept with your chick, too. How am I supposed to receive that information? What he may be saying is cap. He may be saying that because he heard that somewhere else, or maybe he didn't like to do it either. But how am I going to receive that initially? I'm going to say, you know what, bro? You could be right, because not only did he go behind my back and like sabotage a business that we had together, and he's already proven his loyalty and proven that he's not trustworthy. So by you saying that he also slept with my chick, I wouldn't put it past him, would I? Because he's already shown his true colors. See, that's the way things happen in life. I think I saw a super chat up here. Who we got? Well, my man Willie, bro. What's up, man? He says another clown move by Floyd, TBE equals to be expected. Yeah. So look, I did it. Tom, what's good, man? I didn't want to swing the conversation in this direction, but like I said, it's all intertwined. It's all intertwined. Because what happened between Deontay Wilder and Mark Breland, which happened, what is it now? Like over a year ago already? Something like that? Basically, since the end of the second fight. They had already separated, moved their separate ways. Things were said in the media. Wilder said his piece. Breland said his piece. And they went their separate ways. Wilder got Malik Scott. And Breland's doing whatever he's doing. But people are still, like Floyd Mayweather, continuing to keep the spark alive of this animosity that has been built up between Wilder and Breland. Still keeping this flame alive, and it's sad. It's sad that a man of Mayweather's stature and popularity is doing it, because if Divine Sense does it, it's laughable, right? I mean, who is this white dude on YouTube with a couple thousand subscribers? Who cares? You know, it doesn't carry any weight. But Mayweather carries massive weight, and he's keeping this spark alive, this animosity alive, which everybody's trying to, like, Breland is trying to move his way. Wilder's trying to move his way. Now, I don't know if this is a sneaky way for Wilder or for Mayweather to make a suggestion, a sneak diss suggestion to Wilder, like, yo, you better apologize to Breland, bro. Because it wasn't Breland that you lost the fight. It's you that lost the fight. Maybe this is his way, because that's the way the social media is buzzing right now. A lot of content creators on YouTube right now, because Wilder lost the third fight, they want Wilder to concede his defeat and apologize to Mark Breland. That's what it is. So maybe Mayweather has fed into that, and this little statement that he made on his Instagram is a sneak diss / hey, you better apologize to the great Mark Breland. Maybe that's what it is. Hamilton still goes on to say Alfred J. Dees gave him water as well. If Mark Breland is shady, then Dees is shady as well. Well, I do know this. When Mark Breland finally did make a statement in regards to him spiking the water, he said that he never handles the water. Like, never handles the water. That's what he said. So there's only two ways you can look at that. Because I've watched the second fight from beginning to end more than a dozen times. And Mark Breland gives Wilder water after every single round. Yes, JD's is holding a different water bottle on the side. But Breland is the one giving Wilder water after every single round. I've already done a film study of the second fight. Y'all can check it out. Okay. Now, maybe his statement of saying, I don't handle the water, he meant that I don't handle the water behind the scenes. Like, I don't select the water that comes in. I don't choose the water that Wilder's going to drink during the fight. Maybe that's what he meant. But what we do see during the fight is he is giving Wilder water after every single round. right? And I've said this on multiple occasions, Hamilton Steele, and anybody else listening, that if I've worked corners before, I've been assistant trainers, and I've been strength and conditioning coach for fighters before. And if I'm accused of spiking their water because, especially after they lose a fight, if I'm accused, the first thing that I would do is say, hey, if you want to fire me, cool. You think I spiked your water? You don't like me. You don't want me to be a part of your camp no more. You don't want to pay me no more. Cool. I'm going to cash out and we can go our separate ways. No problem. Right? But if you then go in the media and accuse me of spiking your water, the first thing I'm going to do is say, I'm going to hit you up personally, text, phone call, whatever I got to do, and record it and say, look, man, I understand you lost the fight. You're a bit emotional right now, but I can't have you say these things about me. They're not true. And if you don't retract your statements, I'm going to follow a lawsuit against you, period. Because my integrity is worth more than that. Now, I can't speak for Mark Breland. I can only speak for myself. But that's the way I look at it. Mark Breland never did that. So then it was like, okay, you said you didn't handle the water. Okay, you don't want to follow a lawsuit. You want to let it go. That's honorable. That's a noble thing to do. So then what do you want? You want Wilder to then say sorry? Wilder's already felt the way he's felt. Like, you want him now to like change his mind about something when he's already made his mind up? Like I said earlier in my analogy, if you're in a relationship with somebody, a friend, a girlfriend, whatever, even family member, and they do you dirty, and after you in that relationship, you hear other people say like, yo, not only did they do this, but they did this as well. How are you going to receive that? Rather it's true or not, you're going to be like, well, sure. I mean, I already saw what he did here, so I wouldn't put it past him, would I? The difference is that Wilder's a heavyweight champion. He's a name. And when he says the things that he says, it sends shockwaves through the media. We got Corey Duran in the building. What's good, man? He says, what bothered me the most in the situation was Breland was his demeanor after he threw in the towel. He sat back down like he didn't do it. It's just all weird and awkward. You know what I mean? And we don't know what was said exactly behind the scenes. And that's another thing. A lot of people assume like they know exactly what was said and everything that was going on between Wilder and Breland. And everybody's so fixated on the idea that Breland's such a good man. He's such an honorable man. He would never do this. I agree. Innocent until proven guilty. Or that's the way it should be. It's not always that way, though, in the United States. A lot of times you're guilty until proven innocent. But essentially, yeah, you are innocent until you're proven guilty. I completely agree. And I never co-signed the water, and I never will co-sign the water because I don't have empirical evidence in front of me to make that claim. But I'm not going to criticize Wilder for feeling the way that he feels and speaking on how he feels. He has a right to do that. Breland has a right to defend himself. And Breland didn't do that. And everybody's fixated on the idea of him being this great man. And now they're demanding an apology from Wilder when nothing has been done to debunk these allegations either. Nothing has been done to prove it, and nothing has been done to debunk it or to prove otherwise. All it is like Mark Breland would never do that. Wilder's crazy. Wilder can't accept the loss, and he's making accusations without evidence. That's the general idea. That's the general sentiment from all the people that are criticizing Wilder for saying that he's saying what he said. But again, the way my mind operates, and we can sit here and butt heads all day long and say, "Oh, Divine, you're crazy and you're capping for Wilder." I've heard that too many times. How am I capping for Wilder when I will operate this way when it comes to anybody who wants to speak how they feel about a situation where they feel like there's injustice or there's disloyalty or something bad happened to them. People have a right to say what they feel. And anybody that if I'm here on YouTube saying things that I say, right? And there's a certain person on here that says, man, I don't like what Divine's saying right now. I don't appreciate that. He's saying a lot of dumb shit without no evidence. What I would expect them to do is come to me personally, right? DM me, hit me up and be like, yo, Divine, we can have a conversation like men. That's number one. Number two, you have the right to say what you want to say about it. You have a right to defend yourself. So that's just the way I see it, man. And for me, it's neither possible or impossible. Well, let me put it this way. It's not impossible. Anything is possible. That's how I wanted to say it. It's not impossible because anything is possible. Period. And I have too much life experience, too many stories to prove that. So I just don't co-sign with the idea that nobody in this world can do anything wrong to another person. Humans are capable of disgusting things. Period. And you can't change my mind on that. Black Superman in the building. What's good, man? I see you in there. Alfred, man, what's good? He said, yo, this dude is deflecting. Mark Breland abandoned Wilder before the first fight ended with 10 seconds left. Mark Breland was a snake. Wilder's a nice guy. I would have fired Breland's ass after the first. That's another thing that struck me odd is that after the first fight, the dude left. He didn't stay in the ring and celebrate a great performance. A great fight. Didn't celebrate a great fight. The first fight was a great fight. Fury boxing, Wilder knocking him down, 2 times in the fight and nearly knocked him out. And he leaves. Right? So there's a lot of things. This is what I'm trying to explain to people. There's odd and strange behavior. But I'm not saying that Breland's a bad guy. What I'm saying is there's odd and strange behavior that Wilder did notice, that other people in his team noticed. And it's a domino effect, right? It's a domino effect. And you lead up into the second fight. Breland said himself that, I didn't even have my fighter's phone number. I couldn't call Wilder up if I wanted to. There was tension. People, there was tension. And once again, how many times do I have to say it? I sound like a broken record. Once again, when you have somebody who has been loyal to you for so long, and then you start seeing weird things, strange things, odd behavior, you can't get answers for that odd behavior. You can't make sense of that odd behavior. And Mark Breland has his side of the story. Mark Breland does have his side. He may think that Wilder is ignorant, arrogant, doesn't want to listen, whatever. That's his side. Wilder has his side. They both have their side of the story. But at the end of the day, Wilder is the fighter here. Wilder is the boxer. Wilder is the one training, getting in the ring, and putting his life on the line. Breland has been there and done that. So Wilder is the one that, if he is the one that is under the microscope for taking a loss or things happening behind the camp, he's going to operate a little bit differently. Alfred, I appreciate the super chat, man. I appreciate the support. Yo, what's good? So look, again, I didn't expect. Well, I can't say I didn't expect. I didn't mean to swing the conversation in that direction, but like I said, it's all connected because once again, now Mayweather's jumping in and rekindling this animosity that both of these men, Breland and Wilder, are trying to walk away from and move on with their life. So that's the real question. What does Mayweather do? Why? Why? Why do you got to make a social media post on your Instagram of 27 million followers, right? When if you like Breland so much, why don't you just call the dude up? Why not, call him up and say, hey, bro, how you doing? Hope life is good. You can have a private conversation with him about what happened with Wilder, and it's up to Breland if he wants to tell you what he want, whatever. And you keep it private, and tell Breland, like, yo, anytime you want to come to the gym, I got some fighters that you can work with. I'm gonna help you out. You got a job right now. If you feel so strongly that Breland is who he says he is, why you got to make it public? Why? Can somebody please tell me what's the necessity to make this shit public, except for trying to get attention and continuing the animosity? We're all trying to move on from the third fight. We're trying to move on from the Breland Wilder situation. And then you get this dude with 27 million followers dropping a post giving a shout out to Mark Breland. Why? How much more criticism will be enough for Wilder? And I've seen a lot of channels out here saying, well, I'm never going to rest until Wilder is buried in the dirt. I'm going to make him feel sorry for what he said. I'm going to continue to attack him. I'm going to make videos about him every single week until he concedes and submits to the pressure of being a liar and a manipulator and making these false accusations. And I'm going to continue to destroy and dismantle his character. People, this is what channels are saying out there. This is what they're saying. So my question for you content creators here saying that, my question for you is, when does it end? How much more criticism does Wilder need to receive until you are satisfied? And if your answer is, well, I just want him to come out and apologize, Devon. That's all I want him to do. Hey, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but that ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. So you can sit up on your chair and scream in the mic and tell people how much, you're upset that Wilder won't apologize. But you're preaching to the choir and you're speaking upon deaf ears. Wilder's not going to apologize. You know why? Because nobody can prove otherwise. Nobody can prove to him otherwise when it comes to his feelings about Mark Breland. Mark Breland himself didn't really defend himself other than saying, I don't handle the water. That's what he said. That's literally what he said to defend himself. And I don't have a problem with Mark Breland. I know a lot of people in the chat right now have a whole different viewpoint than me and say, I don't like Mark Breland at all. I think he's a snake. I'm indifferent when it comes to Mark Breland. But I'm not going to co-sign the idea that he somehow escapes any type of criticism, or he escapes a situation where Wilder has the feelings that he has, when he hasn't proven otherwise. He hasn't defended himself other than saying Wilder's a liar and I never handled the water. And that's what he said. Now, if it seems to me that he took the noble route, he took the humble route, and not pursue a lawsuit or whatever for defamation of character or whatever have you, and he chose that route. And I respect that. But you people who support Mark Breland, you need to accept that too. You need to accept the fact that Mark Breland decided not to defend himself and to move on humbly and gracefully, and let him do it. And let Wilder feel however he wants to feel. At the end of the day, Wilder just lost the third fight. Wilder just got stopped. Wilder fought like a warrior. got dropped 3 times in a fight and still try to continue fighting. Like, what more do you want from Wilder, man? Wilder's not going to apologize. It ain't going to happen because nobody has proven otherwise in regards to his feelings and his thoughts towards Mark Breland. He was the one that was dealing with Mark Breland, not us, not you, not anybody out here, but him. And Mark Breland didn't do anything to defend himself. He chose to say, you know what? I'm not gonna play that. You know, I'm not gonna go to that level and get into a debate, and I'm not gonna, sue him or anything like that. I'm just gonna say he's lying, and I'm gonna keep it moving. Cool. Then all of you Mark Breland supporters, that's what you need to do. It's over. And everybody's trying to go their separate ways, but you want to hang on to the rope and continue to pull. And look what's happened. Now Mayweather's jumping on it now. Now Mayweather wants to put his piece in there now. Now Mayweather wants to rekindle that fire. That animosity. You guys are no better. The people out here supporting Mark Breland, you're no better than the men or the people that are in Wilder's ear. All these people that came to Wilder after the second fight and said, yo, D, check this. Yo, champ, check this. Right? Putting fuel into that fire, right? After losing a fight the way he lost it. That's what they were, hey, call it what you want to call it, but that's what happened. But you people who are out here so upset that Wilder won't apologize to Mark Breland, and you're all big Mark Breland supporters, and poor Mark Breland, you are no better than the hype men of Wilder. You are no different. So to me, you're a hypocrite. You want to criticize Wilder for believing things that his hype men have told him and making all these false claims, but you a hype man of Mark Breland. You want to continue this animosity. Mark Breland himself has tried to walk away from it and move on with his life. So again, I ask the question, when will you be satisfied? The man just lost. He's lost 2 times in a row. When will you be satisfied? And when you're not satisfied and you want to continue to do what you're doing against Wilder, it makes me feel like you are nothing but a hater. Period. A hating ass bitch, basically. We got Rafael Velasco Jr. in the super chat, man. He says, bottom line, leaving Bree aside, Wilder couldn't turn Fury's lights out. He lost all 3 fights. Bree should be blamed for Wilder's lack of skills. Rafael, man, I appreciate your opinion. I don't think he lost 3 fights. He lost 2 fights, in my opinion. First fight was a draw. And I don't agree with you on the first fight. As far as Breland should be blamed for Wilder's lack of skills, yeah. And, why isn't Breland being criticized? Why isn't Breland ever being criticized to Rafael's point, for lack of skill? So now Malik Scott is a hype man. Malik Scott is worthless. And Mayweather comes out and says Mark Breland is a fantastic trainer. He's one of the best, blah, 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 blah. But Wilder got beat up in the second fight. Didn't look like there was a game plan at all. And you can't put all the blame to Wilder. Yes, the fighter has to go in the ring and fight. Yes, the fighter has to go in there and implement the game plan. But look at the Ortiz fights. Ortiz was doing well against Wilder. Wilder had to dig deep and knock out Ortiz. So how long has this been going on? How long has it been going on between Breland and Wilder? How long? Breland gets 0 criticism. It's all Wilder's fault. Wilder. It's all Wilder's fault. Wilder can't do shit. Wilder don't listen. Wilder's a liar. Wilder's a crybaby. We're sick of Wilder. Get rid of Wilder. He has nothing good to do for the sport of boxing. Wilder. It's disgusting, man. It's disgusting. Now, look, next thing I want to do, just real quickly, is share this video with you guys real quickly. Where we at? So not only did Floyd say what he said by giving Breland a shout out, a random shout out, like out of the blue, coincidentally, right after the third fight, saying he's a great trainer, this, that, or whatever. But now it's been discovered that they actually had a FaceTime call. So again, I'm going to play the video here in a second, but again, it's a question of why could if Mayweather truly feels this way about Breland and him being this great trainer or whatever have you, which that's fine. Why couldn't this conversation be in private? Y'all just had a FaceTime, right? So y'all can have a private conversation. You got to drop a post to your 27 million followers and just to kind of put another thorn in Wilder's side. Hey, let him know. And look, people, Mayweather's never respected or appreciated Wilder. As a matter of fact, Wilder came out not too long ago and said, yeah, the dude's just salty. That was his response to what to Mayweather's post about Breland was he's salty. He's always been salty. And that's fact. We got Alfred here in another super chat. He says, Wilder won the first fight and was robbed, but these idiots are hating because they want to see Wilder fail. It's amazing that they want Wilder to fail so bad that they got to lie and say he lost 3 times. Wilder won the first fight. Yeah, I think on my official scorecard, I had Wilder winning by a round. He obviously gets 4 rounds for the 2 knockdowns, and I gave him 3 rounds outside of that. I don't remember what rounds they were exactly, but he definitely won the first and second round, in my opinion. And there's another round in there. I can't remember what it was, but I had Wilder winning by a round. Yeah, I don't get the whole 3 fights thing. He won 2. Fury won 2. And at the end of the day, he won 2 out of 3. So what are you disappointed about? You want him, it's like you got to force this. No, he's 3-0. No, there was a rematch for a reason. There was a rematch because it was a draw and because Wilder nearly knocked out Fury. So we knew that Wilder can hurt Fury. And there was a lot of hype. And so even if Fury got the nod and won by a round or 2, they would have had a rematch anyway. I guarantee you that because of what happened in the 12th round. So it doesn't really matter. And then Fury won the second and third fight. So he won 2 out of 3. So I don't know why you guys complain. Alfred, hey, I appreciate you, bro, for the super chat, man. Much love and appreciation. Thank you for supporting the channel. Yave with another super chat. He says Fury got KO'd twice. Facts. My man Yave out there saying that he got KO'd. Hey, look, I've already made videos about the long count, whatever. I'm not going back into that, man, because it stresses me the hell out. It does. Nobody wants to use critical thinking skills. Nobody wants to look at possibilities. They accuse me of making excuses, and I'm not going down that road anymore. Y'all can look at the evidence yourself. That's all I'm going to say. Look at it yourself and leave me the hell alone. No disrespect to you, Yave. This is your opinion, and I appreciate the super chat, and I appreciate you obviously being an official member of the channel. But when it comes to these knockdowns, and I look, just leave me alone, man. I came out here. I tried to be transparent. I tried to put out information and say, hey, you guys, check this out. And you're a hater, and you're an excuse maker, and how dare you? And you don't know boxing, and you hate your own race, and you pitiful, disgraceful white man. Why can't you just support the white man? And I'm tired of it, man. I can't take it. Because if I continue to get this type of feedback and criticism, I don't got no time for you two, man. I do this for fun. I do it as a hobby, and I do it because I love the sport of boxing. I don't got to put up with that shit. I don't got to put up with these psychos. So it's better for me to just leave it alone and just talk about this. So let me get into this video in case you guys haven't seen. This was dropped by Fight Hype, I believe. Shout out to Fight Hype. And they dropped a little quick video here, just to let you guys know, that Breland has responded to Breland has responded to Mayweather's post. So this is from Mark Breland. Mark Breland says, so I have never gotten to know this man on a personal level. I've had more than a few conversations with his uncle Roger and a couple with his father. So from only knowing Mayweather from his showmanship personality, you only think you know a little about him. Getting to know him on a more personal level, I'll say this. His ring IQ is only a quarter of his business IQ, and that's impressive. He changed the entire game, and any boxer that don't appreciate what he's done doing for the culture and his dedication to the sport got a personal problem with themselves. You've got to respect him for looking at fighters' paychecks before him changing the game. My era and the ones before didn't. Now, let me say this. I don't have any problem with what's this? Okay. Yeah, I don't have any problem with the idea that Mayweather has provided new opportunity for fighters because Mayweather himself went through Top Rank and he was screwed over and he went to go promote himself and he made a lot of money in the sport. He wants to protect fighters. I got no problem with that. I got no problem with that. But it's now kind of like this weird little bromance now between Mayweather and Breland. Mayweather drops a post and, oh, Breland's great and this, that, or whatever, and y'all need to go follow Breland. Coincidentally, after the third fight, obviously, between Fury and Wilder. Then now Mark Breland is replying, oh, yeah, I didn't really know Mayweather, but now I do know him because we had a FaceTime call. He's a really cool guy, and I appreciate him more, this, that, and the third, and, he's a great businessman. So now there's a lot of bromancing going on. And it's just all weird. It's just like, why are people still essentially, because this is what this is all about. It's about Wilder. It's literally about Wilder. It has nothing to do with Breland and Mayweather. Breland and Mayweather could have reached out to each other FaceTime and invited each other to each other's gyms and have a conversation. This is all public for a reason. And it's all about Wilder. At the end of the day, in the backdrop, it's all about Wilder. Letting people know that, we're the true people in the sport of boxing. We're the ones that know. We're the ones that have the IQ. We're the ones that know boxing. Wilder don't know about boxing. Malik Scott don't really know about boxing. We're the ones. We're the true ones. We understand. Breland a champ. Breland a Hall of Famer. Mayweather a Hall of Famer. Yeah, we're the ones who know. That's what it seems like to me. And somebody else can prove me otherwise on why these posts are now happening. But to me, it's a continuing thorn in Wilder's side and keep the man down. Which is just silly, it's immature, it's lame, it's corny. When all we're trying to do is give Fury his credit for winning the third fight and move the hell on. It's just weird. And Breland writing this long-ass paragraph about a man, by the way, who used to criticize Mayweather. Mark Breland used to criticize Mayweather for the things that he has done outside the sport, being a businessman and doing these exhibition fights and all this different stuff. And he couldn't last in our era. This is what Breland used to say about Mayweather. So now all of a sudden, I talked to him on FaceTime and we cool now, man. Like, hey, shout out to Mayweather. Shout out to Mayweather. So look, let me go in and continue this video. So this was the post by Mark Breland. And this is just them blowing it up here. Yeah, the fact that he's talked to Uncle Roger and the father makes sense because they're around the same era. So, and like I said, I don't have any problem with him bringing up the thing about, what Mayweather has done for fighters and appreciating the fighters, because that's not what happened in Breland's era, which is true. It is true. But y'all talking about this now? This is something that you just finding about now? Y'all understanding and discovering this now? This last part, he said, no matter your personal feelings about him outside the ring, numbers don't lie. Look back at the age he was when he beat some of the pound for pound greats. I appreciate his post, and it would only be someone like him to not care who liked his post or not, because he cannot and I will not be controlled. Hashtag I'm still here. Hashtag boxing. Hashtag still going for gold. Hashtag jab. Hashtag remain humble. This is just funny to me because it wasn't too long ago when Mark Breland was out there saying he didn't like Mayweather and his antics outside the ring. And now you're praising him for being a businessman. So it is what it is, man. Y'all can come up with your own conclusions. I just find that odd. And it all feeds into, like what I said earlier, it's all about Wilder at the end of the day. These two guys having a little bromance session. So this is the screenshot of them FaceTiming each other. I have zero problem with two men getting together, both Hall of Famers in their own era, having a FaceTime conversation, letting the people know that, hey, I reached out to Mark Breland and it's all good. Like, had a nice little conversation, whatever. But this whole, stroking each other's egos and the sneak dissing and all this shit, it's like, again, I ask, when will it end, man? What more do you want for Wilder? Like, how much more do you want to see Wilder being pushed down and have his name dragged through the mud? How much more does it take? So what's next? What's next? We're gonna get other Hall of Famer fighters dropping Instagram posts praising Mark Breland now. Is that what's gonna happen? Let's all rally behind Mark Breland now. Y'all weren't saying shit when the accusations were actually happening. But now that Wilder finally lost, it's like you're all waiting for the third fight. That's what's crazy. Y'all sitting and waiting to see what happens in the third fight. Because it's like, oh shit, if Wilder might actually win this fight. If Wilder beats Fury, I don't know what we're going to say. Because if Wilder beats Fury in the third fight, that is actually a big blow to Breland, right? Because it shows that Malik Scott is potentially or possibly a better trainer. Wilder performed better because he got the knockout. He couldn't do that with Mark Breland in his corner. So that's what they were waiting for. They knew it was a possibility, a very good possibility, that Wilder would knock out Fury. They waited for the fight to end and Fury to get the victory. Now they're making these posts and in my opinion, they're making a mockery out of not only Wilder, but Malik Scott, and also this trilogy, which whether you're a Wilder fan or a Fury fan or a fan of either one of them, but you just enjoy watching heavyweight fights, why make a mockery out of a trilogy, which is something that we haven't seen from heavyweights in how many years? When was the last time we saw a trilogy of two champions going head-to-head for 3 fights? The fight build-up, the different characters of the fighters, Fury being who he is, Wilder being who he is, and all that. UK, America. What is there to make a mockery of? Did you lose? Did you waste your money? Did you waste your time? If you're a Fury fan, did you waste your time watching your man win 2 out of 3? If you're a Wilder fan, did you really waste your time on supporting your American heavyweight to become, potentially undisputed and fighting this guy from the UK and this, they've both been talking shit about each other and all whatever it may be. So did we lose? Did boxing fans really lose? It's just all very confusing to me. PGH Big Dog, man, what's good? I'm glad you were able to make the live tonight. So hopefully I was able to shed a bit of light in this live stream for people that were able to join in and join this conversation. Um, somebody who asked, who's Breland trained now? To be honest, I don't know. Uh, and by the way, shout out to Blocker man. Good to see you in the chat, bro. I don't know. I heard something about a month ago that he was in the UK training. Did I hear he was in the UK training someone? I can't remember, but I heard the news and I kind of waited to say anything or really think too much about it. And I revisited it and then I couldn't find anything. So I don't know what he's doing. Okay. And one of my subscribers actually commented on the Instagram post that Floyd Mayweather made and said, "Hey, you out here praising Breland, but I got a question. What other world champions have Breland trained since Wilder?" That's an interesting question. I don't think he has. Jason, what's up, man? He says Breland was a great fighter and probably a very good trainer. But when I heard him in interviews, he seemed very quiet and I'll just say kindly, past his prime. No offense, though. Let me just speak on that real quickly. Look, Breland was a great fighter. He was. He's a future Hall of Famer, well deserved. And I have no problem. And I will say this: I do have a problem when people try to um, discredit what Breland has done in the sport of boxing as a fighter. Do I think he's a good trainer? Quite frankly, I don't know. I don't know. And the reason why I say that is because of what has happened with Wilder, and maybe it's just maybe it is just Wilder. Maybe it is. And I will have no problem changing my opinion if he does train another future champion. And I'm like, okay, I was wrong. I have no problem recognizing that. But I will say this: great fighters, great boxers, or for any sport for that matter, Hall of Fame basketball players, Hall of Fame football players, Hall of Fame swimmers, whatever it is, whatever sport it is, but in boxing in particular, because that's the topic at hand. Great fighters, Hall of Fame fighters, don't always become, actually, I would probably say a lot of times, actually, don't become great trainers. Fighting and coaching are two different things. Now, would I like to have a former Hall of Famer in my corner? Absolutely, because they have that experience and they've been there before. But being a coach is a different skill set than just going in the ring and fighting. And so just because he's a great fighter doesn't necessarily mean that he's a great coach or a great trainer. There's so much when it comes to being a coach and a trainer. It's not just the knowledge, but it's also, can you lead? Can you motivate? When you're working with fighters, every fighter has a different personality. And as a coach, you have to be balanced. You have to know how to work with people. You got to know how to speak to people. I've been a coach in sports, a personal trainer, a strength and conditioning coach, and I'm speaking from a standpoint of experience in this profession for over a decade. Okay? And I have trained and coached males, females of all ages, and even kids. And I'll tell you right now, Being a coach is a completely different skill set. You can have all the knowledge up here, but to teach it is completely different. And I've worked with athletes that are really receptive, always ask questions, want to get better, very easy to coach. And I've dealt with athletes that are a straight pain in my ass. As a coach, you got to know how to juggle and balance athletes who have big egos. And I have no problem admitting that Wilder has a big ego. He absolutely does. And why wouldn't he? The dude is a knockout artist. The dude has accomplished something that nobody, I want to say nobody else ever has, but very few have. Jumping off a Budweiser truck at 19 years old, becoming a bronze medalist in the Olympics, and then going on becoming a world heavyweight champion. Building his own house in Tuscaloosa, Alabama from scratch. Being able to take care of himself and his family. So you can have a little bit of ego. You can have a little bit of pride, right? But you got to be a certain type of individual to be able to coach those type of people. You can't just blame it on the fighter. He's got an ego, man. He's arrogant. He's ignorant. He ain't humble. Well, as a coach, you got to know how to work around that. That's a different skill that you got to have. Now, I'll be the first one to admit, with my experience in coaching, I prefer coaching women. I'll tell you straight up. If somebody said, "Hey, I got a female boxing prospect and I got a male," I would say 7 out of 10 times I'll go with the female. It's just my personal preference. Women just listen more. They're a bit more reserved. They're more disciplined, and they're not always as athletic. They can't always do everything that men can do at the same pace or the same rate or whatever, but they're just much easier to coach. But again, if I have the opportunity to train someone like Deontay Wilder, I know how to deal with someone like Deontay Wilder. I've dealt with a lot of egos before. Let's put it to you this way. I've coached athletes who were better than me or who are currently better than I was when I played. Right? I played professional soccer in Southeast Asia. That's what I did for years. And I went on to coach guys who are probably better now than I was then. But there's one thing that I have that they don't, and that's the experience. Right? And you got to know how to maneuver yourself into position so you can be respected. And that is something that I feel like Breland couldn't do. That is my opinion. That is my opinion. Nicholas Long, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by tonight. Jay Booman. Jay Booman says, who wouldn't want the trainer of a champion if he's a good trainer? Well, sure. Yeah, I just said, like, would I want a great boxer in my corner if I was going up for a fight? I'll tell you this. I mean, I'm never gonna, I'm too old for this shit now. I'm never gonna go on and be a boxer and be a world champion. But there may come a time where I might do a charity match or I might do a little local like tournament or something like that if I decide to do that. And I am tempted to do it, just cross something off my bucket list. But if I can get the opportunity of having a great fighter to come and train me, of course I'm not going to say, oh no, I don't need that. But if I have options and I have a guy that was like an okay fighter with nothing great, but I just have a better relationship with him, we communicate really well. He understands me. He knows he can see my strengths and he can see my weaknesses. Because sometimes, man, when you, especially in boxing, when you fight and you weren't the best, a lot of times you learn so much more because you actually lost a lot. When you lose a lot because maybe you just didn't have enough speed, or you didn't have a great chin like the other guys did, or maybe you couldn't take care of your body the way that you wanted to, or whatever it may be, right? There's a lot of different reasons on why fighters are, not part of that 2%. But they learn a lot from those losses, man. And they know how to come in and say, "Don't do what I did. Don't make these mistakes." I learn from people like that more than guys that were on the top who are naturally gifted. Like for me, would I do a session with Mayweather if I had the opportunity? Of course. Put it up on my Instagram. Yeah, I trained with Floyd Mayweather. But I don't think he's a great coach. That's just my opinion. Because of he was so successful in his career. He's never had to lose and come back from adversity and lose from that. He's been in some tough fights, but it's just different. And my whole opinion on this is probably a lot different than a lot of people's. But when I finished the military and decided to pursue a career in sports again, I had to start from the bottom. I didn't do the typical route because most, they go high school, they're good high school players, they go to college, whether it's a big school or small school. If they're good enough, they get picked up, they go, in the draft, or they do tryouts or whatever it may be. Maybe they start off in lower leagues before they get to the big leagues. There's a lot of different routes, right? I did it probably the most difficult way. I finished high school, had opportunities to go to university. I said, nah. I joined the military. I got out, and I had to go and be a walk-on. And I failed a couple of times. And I had to work with coaches who, weren't the best at what they do, but they were just they're so good at coaching, and I couldn't have done it without them. And that's just my personal experience, and I stand by that. And it's the same thing that after I decided to stop, playing professionally, and I got into coaching, I've always adopted that same mindset and developed the coaching abilities. You know what I mean? A lot of you guys may see that when I speak on the mic and I'm on live and I talk to people, you can kind of see that coaching mentality, right? That teaching, I don't know, swagger that I have. It just comes naturally. And so some people have it, some people don't. Jay says, yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he was so great, Breland would have a job right now. He trained a champ, but nobody wants him. To me, that says a lot about him as a trainer. Yeah. I mean, the fact that this is what I'm saying. The fact that Mayweather jumps on here talking about Breland's such a great trainer and this and that, and he deserves respect and go follow him and stuff. It really has nothing to do with Mark Breland, in my opinion. This is a sneak diss. Perhaps something was said behind the scenes to Mayweather from Wilder. I don't know, man. Whatever compelled it compelled Mayweather to drop the post that he dropped. Maybe it was random. Maybe that's just who Mayweather is. He does random ass shit. Maybe something was said. Maybe something propelled him to say what he said. I don't know, but I just feel like, in a nutshell, it seems a bit silly and out of line. Going more than a little over a week after the trilogy fight, now you want to make this big post about Breland. And then now Breland responds to you, and now you and him are going back and forth and having a great time, giving each other accolades. And to me, I just don't understand how, why couldn't this have been a private conversation? You want to do a screenshot with you and him doing a FaceTime, fine. But all these posts like this, I just don't get it. And that's just my opinion, man. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before I get up out of here is a little bit more about Malik Scott. It's part of the live stream. Drake Lemonade, what's good, man? Thanks for dropping by tonight. I appreciate you. I'm glad you made it. I want to talk about a little bit about Malik Scott because now it seems as though because Mayweather has shouted out Breland, it kind of does paint the idea and paint the picture that Mayweather, the grand skilled boxer that he is, doesn't think very much of Malik Scott. That's the way I see it. A lot of people think it's about Wilder. A lot of people think it's about Breland. For me, it has a lot to do with Malik Scott. This post that I have up on the screen right now that Mayweather put in his Instagram is about Malik Scott. Now, Malik Scott has already came out and said, "Oh, it's not a sneak diss. It's fine. I don't care." And fair play to Malik Scott for having that attitude. It's actually probably good because you're not playing into it. But I feel like it's more of a shot to Malik Scott. And now that is the idea of not only me, but a lot of other people on here dropping videos, now people are starting to criticize Malik Scott, saying that, like, hey, we told you so. Malik is nothing but a hype man. He's just a yes man. He didn't teach Wilder any new skills, whatever the case may be. So I just wanted to, give my opinion about Malik Scott before I get up out of here. And before I do that, I just want to remind everybody, I hope you have hit the like button. If you haven't, slide down, jab that like button, get the likes up. Okay, every like makes a difference, especially right now that the trilogy fight is over. It's not as much hype on the live streams as they were before. And every single person who's taken the time to drop in, man, I appreciate you. I know there might be a little bit of lack of motivation and whatever, but look, we want to finalize these points and make it clear that we don't always agree with the propaganda, basically, is what it is, by mainstream media. And we are the alternative media. And so every like makes a huge difference to get that alternative voice out there. So I appreciate everyone hitting that like button. And in the poll so far, it's 90% of the people said yes, Mayweather did sneak diss Wilder. So 83 votes there. Seems pretty clear on how people feel about it. Let's try to get the likes up to 80 before I get up out of here. Let's try to get up to 80. All right. So let me give my thoughts real quick about Malik Scott and people saying that he's a hype trainer. First and foremost, I just don't think that there's just not enough there to criticize him as a trainer yet. He was with Wilder for one fight. Did Wilder look better in comparison to the second fight? Yeah, he did. He did look better. And I feel like the third fight was much more to do with Wilder not following the game plan than it was about Malik being a bad trainer. And I think people might get it confused when it comes to, is he a hype man or is he a man that understands Wilder? I saw a gentleman make a video before the fight actually happened, back in like September. And he said that he doesn't like Malik Scott. He's looking at his past fights, and Malik Scott is like falling on the floor, and he's dramatic. And as a fighter, he was very dramatic. And the way he got knocked out by Wilder and his other past fights, and the whole pad work that they did leading up to the fight was all choreographed and it was all dramatic. He's like spitting up water, and he just doesn't like Malik Scott. He thinks Malik Scott is a hype man. If y'all search hard enough, you can probably find the video. I'm not going to tell you guys who it is, but it's out there. I just watched it earlier today. And so I can kind of see why people think that way. Um, but again, I'm still firm in my stance when it comes to, is he a bad trainer or not? If you want to argue his boxing career, then okay, that's a conversation that we can have. But as a trainer, I'm not ready to criticize him and throw him under the bus just because Wilder lost, and I'm not going to compare him to Breland. You know, they've had one fight together. They've had one fight. Now, when Wilder comes back and gets either a tune-up fight or whatever they decide to do, and he looks fantastic, then I'm going to come on here and I'm going to ask all these people who were talking shit about Malik Scott to readdress their thoughts. Like, what do you guys have to say now? If Wilder goes in there and looks terrible, then okay, I'll be willing to address Malik Scott and give you guys an honest assessment on whether I think he's a good trainer or not. Right now, I don't think he's a hype man. I think he's a man that understands Wilder better than most people. And I have no problem admitting and agreeing to the fact that Wilder is a man of ego. He's a man of pride. And I think he's a nice, humble guy. I think he's a family man. There's a lot of things that I like and appreciate of Wilder's character and what he represents in his story. But I can see how he could be a difficult man to deal with. And you need to be a certain individual, a certain type of individual to be able to deal with that. And I think Malik does that. And I think that's why they have the connection that they have. And like I said, we will see soon enough on whether he's a good trainer or not. It's just too early to make that decision, in my opinion. He didn't look light years better in the third fight. Obviously, he got those 2 knockdowns, but it was more of that first round does say a lot to me. You can see the game plan. I've never seen Wilder come and attack the body like that. That's Malik Scott. That's Malik Scott right there. That first round is Malik Scott. And the fact that Wilder went away from that game plan has nothing to do with Malik Scott. And as a matter of fact, you can make the argument that the only reason why the fight went 11 rounds was because of Malik Scott, because of the motivation that he was giving Wilder in the corner and the advice that he was giving him, you know. And Wilder obviously wasn't protecting himself, and Malik Scott is screaming in his face, basically, like, you got to keep your hands up, you got to protect yourself, you got to keep using the jab, whatever it is. Wilder couldn't do it physically because he was completely exhausted. But that's not Malik Scott's fault. Malik Scott is doing all he can as a person from the corner, you know, giving instruction. So we see the game plan come out in the first round. Wilder went away from that, and that has nothing to do with Malik Scott. So this idea that he's a hype man and he's not a good trainer, I'm just not ready to co-sign that idea. And again, if it wasn't for Malik Scott, I don't think there would have been an 11th round. I really don't. Wilder's a warrior. He would have fought, but Malik Scott played a very vital role in keeping Wilder's head in the game and not, you know, not being overwhelmed and just throwing everything out to the wind, like just all the caution to the wind. I mean, people forget, right? People they accidentally forget, or they conveniently forget that in that 10th round, when Wilder got knocked down, I thought the fight was over. Wilder looked completely spent. It was done. He gets up from the knockdown, and the last 15 seconds of that round, he started piecing up Fury. And Fury was seriously hurt. And if there would have been another 10 seconds in that round, he would have dropped Fury again. I would put everything I own on that. Fury was in big trouble at the end of that 10th round. And Fury was potentially saved by the round in the 4th round and the 10th round. Because when he got that second knockdown in the 4th round, the round was over. He got up and the round was over, and he was seriously hurt. 10th round once again. And I think Fury was surprised that Wilder kept getting up. He was like, how does this man keep getting up? And Fury, at times, he got knocked down in the 4th round because he got sloppy. He got too confident, and Wilder caught him. And then once again in the 10th round, he got sloppy, and Wilder dug deep and found fumes, going on fumes basically, and started throwing bombs, and Fury got caught, and he was stumbling around at the end of that 10th round. If there was another 10 to 15 seconds, I think Fury would have been dropped again. Rather he would have got up or not is debatable, but imagine if Wilder would have got 3 knockdowns in the fight instead of 2. Would that change the 11th round? We don't know. See, all these things are all unknowns, but what I'm saying is that there is a lot of convenience of oh, Fury won the fight, he knocked him out in the 11th round. Yeah. Well, he did, but it's like you like to pick and choose your little victorious moments here. And I don't know if I can find that 10th round to share it with you guys just real quickly, because I'm not going to skim through a whole fight, because that 10th round is forgotten. Everybody talks about the stoppage at the end of the fight, and Wilder got knocked down 3 times. All right, so it looks like we have let me see if I can get to the 10th, and I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, I was literally on the edge of my seat. All right, so let's check this out before I end this live stream. Make sure you guys hit that like button, man. We got to get to 80 likes before I end this live stream. Let's make it happen. But I'm going to share this this 10th round for you guys just real quickly so you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. Because like I said, people conveniently forget it. People literally and conveniently forget it. The end of this 10th round. And I say, oh, it doesn't matter, Devon, man. He lost, bro. Just accept it. I've already accepted it. I've already accepted it. And I've already given Fury his credit. But let's be, if you're a real boxing fan, let's be real, man. Let's be real. And look, the thing is this. A lot of people say like, yo, it was so one-sided and Malik Scott didn't make a difference in the fight. Nah, man. In my opinion, the only reason why this fight went as long as it did, not the only reason, but a pivotal reason, is because of Malik Scott. That little bit of motivation that he was able to do, that Mark Breland couldn't do. In the second fight, Breland was silent the entire time, giving very little to zero instructions. When Wilder was getting beat up from pillar to post, bleeding, being knocked down, not having his legs, looking terrible, no motivation, man. And I take issue with that. And that's what we've been talking about this entire live stream in regards to Mark Breland is what on regards to him being a good trainer or not. Like how he might be okay with pad work. He might be okay, behind the scenes looking at film and implementing a game plan. I don't know. Maybe he is. But I don't think he's good in the corner during a fight. I that might just be my personal preference. But I prefer trainers who motivate, wake their fighters up, giving instructions, telling them when they're doing something wrong, telling them that they need to fix something. That didn't happen with Breland in the second fight in particular. But it did happen in the third fight with Malik Scott. And because he got that motivation, because he got the instructions, rather he was able to do it not physically because he was completely exhausted, is irrelevant. The fight went 11 rounds, people. The fight went 11 rounds. Wilder knocked him down twice, nearly 3 times. I'm about to show that right now. That's why I have it up here on the screen. So let's keep it real. You want to celebrate Fury's victory? Cool. Have your little celebration. Congratulations. But this let's beat up Wilder and drag his name through the mud and he ain't nothing and Fury's the greatest thing and that Fury said it himself. I'm the best and Wilder's second best. Now that might hurt Wilder's ego a little bit and you know, we go back, oh, he didn't shake his hand, he doesn't respect him. That's another conversation for another time if I decide to talk about it. But even Fury himself recognizes Wilder will beat anybody else. Even Fury himself said that. So what are you all talking about? He's a bum. The man that you celebrate so highly said that Wilder can beat anybody else in the division. That's some funny ass shit. That you want to talk about fanboy? Oh, Divine, he's a fanboy of Wilder. Y'all fanboys of Fury, man. You either fanboys of Fury or you just a straight up Wilder hater, and it is what it is. So let's get into this 10th round. Let me go forward a little bit. There's a lot of wrestling. Both of them are very tired, especially Wilder. So Wilder's about to get dropped here in a second. Boom. And you know, and that shot, like, let me play that back one more time. This shot that Fury lands, and you know, Wilder throws a big left hook and misses. And that took a lot out of him when he doesn't have very much left anyways. And he sees this punch coming. I guarantee you he sees this punch coming. He just can't get out of the way. He can't. He physically doesn't have enough energy to defend himself anymore, and he just gets hit flush. Boom. Right? So check this. He gets up, and to me, you know, his face doesn't look like he's really hurt. He's just completely exhausted, and he's probably thinking to himself, yeah, like I just got knocked down again because I'm completely exhausted." That's the type of sign that I'm getting from his facial expressions. So he gets up from the knockdown. Now watch the end of this round. So here comes the end of the round. Fury comes with big bombs, trying to finish it. Now look, I want you guys to pay attention to something. Fury's throwing big bombs here, right? And this is part of the reason why he's trying to finish Wilder here. He thinks Wilder's done. But this is a big reason why he almost got dropped. Fury. I'm talking about Fury here. The fact that he starts throwing big bombs at Wilder to finish him wore him out when it came down to the last seconds of this round. And Wilder found these fumes and almost dropped Fury again because Fury's throwing these big bombs and putting a lot of energy behind these shots, trying to finish Wilder. So we're about 45 seconds in. Now watch. Boom. Wilder hits him. Boom. Uppercut. Wilder starts hitting him up a little bit. Now 30 seconds left. Watch carefully what happens. This is the part of the fight that a lot of people conveniently forget because they think Wilder's done. Well, I mean, he was done technically. He was done, but This is why this is crazy. It's crazy witnessing this. And I don't know how people hate on it. How do you hate on a man who was just knocked down, who obviously is completely gassed and going and fighting off of nothing but pure heart, will, and determination? And it's weird because Wilder starts throwing these uppercuts in this 10th round and hitting and landing, and it's like Wilder, bro, like where were these uppercuts before? Then Fury hits him with the uppercut, and I think it's this little sequence as they back into the corner here is when Fury starts getting hurt. I think Wilder starts landing something here. Right here. So basically, these last 10 seconds, I thought it was 15, but it's like these last 10 seconds, watch the flurry by Wilder. Watch. Boom. See his knees buckle right there. Boom. 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 People. Boom. Look at this. Look at this. Imagine if, right? Imagine if there was another 10, 15 seconds in the round. Mario Holden, what's good, man? I'm glad you made the live tonight. Look, man, how could you not love this as a boxing fan? Wilder got dropped. Fury's trying to finish him. Watch this. Boom. His knees buckle right here, people. And crazy thing is that Wilder is spent. That shot that he lands, he's got no legs. Imagine if he still had his legs, people. If he would have had his legs, Fury probably would have been knocked out. And it's just like pure will and determination. And watch, once again, people have forgotten this 10th round. Watch this. Boom, his knees buckle. Boom again. His knees buckle again. Left hook. Boom. And Fury's not even punching back. Fury's literally just like trying to smother him. And then the round ends. Yeah, that was kind of weird there at the end. And I don't know why the ref is like holding on to Fury like that. Maybe just trying to pull him back. I mean, he's already going to his corner, though. It's not like he was going to the wrong corner. Kind of was holding him up. That's weird. I mean, the round was over anyway, but that is weird. But look, but that little sequence right there that Wilder does here in the last 10 seconds, Wilder emptied the tank. He had nothing left, and that's why when he came out in the 11th round, it was over. But Wilder tried this last little moment to go for glory, and he just ran out of time. He only needed a little bit more time, and Fury was seriously hurt, people. So let's not pretend that, number one, this wasn't a great fight. Number two, Wilder is a complete bum and worthless and never stood a chance. To me, that looks like a man that stands a chance. To me, that looks like a man who dropped him twice in the 4th round. To me, that looks like a man who we just witnessed in the end of the 10th round after being knocked down, almost dropped Fury again. Fury's knees buckled. And time was on Fury's side. This is why I say the things that I say and why I continue to come on here and refuse to submit and concede to those people who say, oh, come on, Divine, bro, just let it go. Fury's better. What more do you want, man? Congratulations, Tyson Fury, champ. What else do you expect, though? Like, y'all come over here to my channel. I mean, if you're new to the channel, I understand. If you're new to the channel, okay. A lot of you people, though, you know that I'm a Wilder fan. And you know what really gets me upset? Is that a lot of these people who talk about me behind my back and sneak dissing me, these people know me for years. These people know that I've been supporting Wilder since like 2013. When nobody else was talking about Wilder, and everyone was like, oh, Wilder, he's pretty good, man. He just got a punch. I don't think he's going to get far. I was supporting Wilder. I told people Wilder will be great. Wilder will be a champ. Wilder will be involved in big, big fights. I was saying that back in 2013. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to have to pull up that video. I made a video and re-upload it onto this channel because it was on my old channel, just to remind people what I was saying about Wilder. So these people know, and now they're like acting as if like they're surprised that I'm talking about Wilder the way that I talk about him. It's because you feel so disrespected and you have this sick feeling in your stomach and you feel disgusted about the things that Wilder said about Fury and Mark Breland and all that. And you have so much animosity towards that you're not even willing to recognize what Wilder, number one, has done in the sport and what he did in this third fight. And at the end of the day, I just want people to be transparent. I want people to say, you know, hey, Fury's the better man. He won the fight. Congratulations. But it was a great fight. And I would like to see Wilder come back. And you got people saying, oh, Wilder should retire. He's done. He looks so bad. It's like, damn. Really? Really? That's how you guys feel? You'd rather see Fury? Y'all rather see Fury and Joshua and Dillian White, who continues to duck fights? That's what you guys want to see? Okay. I mean, I guess it's to each to their own, man. But it's still Bomb Squad over here, man. It's still, I'm not going to switch gears. People are, Devon Since likes to switch gears. How the fuck am I switching gears when I'm still supporting the same man that I've been supporting for 8 years? That don't even make no damn sense. That makes zero sense. Y'all jump in the bandwagon supporting Fury just because you don't like Wilder. You want to see Wilder lose because you're upset about what he said about Mark Breland. Well, he's lost. Okay? Are you satisfied yet? What more do you want? You want him to make a public apology? Wilder needs to make a public apology to Mark Breland for all the things that he said. Well, first off, don't hold your breath because that shit ain't going to happen. And secondly, why should he? When nobody has proven to him otherwise about the things that he said about Breland. Breland himself couldn't even, well, not that he couldn't, he didn't defend himself. Other than, oh, I don't handle the water. Okay. That's how you defend yourself. Cool. That's how you defend yourself. Cool. But look, that'll probably be enough for this live stream, man. I didn't plan on going this long, but, you know, I've enjoyed it, and I've pretty much said everything that I wanted to say about this topic. If you just joined, you came in late. We talked about, you know, Mayweather and what he said on social media, Malik's response, Wilder's response. We talked about Mark Breland. We touched back on the old allegations and all that stuff, something that I hate talking about, but unfortunately it's relevant into as far as, you know, Floyd Mayweather jumping into this conversation and saying what he said. In a nutshell, and in conclusion, if you joined late, I feel like Mayweather, he definitely is sneak dissing not only Wilder, but more so Malik Scott, in my opinion. And he continues to put fuel in a dying fire that was erupted about a year ago and has simmered down. And Wilder's trying to do his own thing and go his way. Breland's trying to do his thing and go his way. Breland chose not to take legal action. Breland chose the humble kind of like, I'm not going to go that route and he can say what he wants to say. I'm not going to get involved. Which is fine. But if Breland's not willing to defend himself, and you may think, well, he doesn't need to defend himself because the allegations are bullshit. Well, then don't expect an apology then. Don't expect an apology then. Just leave it where it is. Breland chose that route. Cool. You wanted Wilder to lose. He lost. You should be satisfied with that. And we can all move on. And if you don't want to move on, you want to continue to beat that drum and demanding, I want a public apology. I want a public apology. You ain't nothing but a hater. You ain't nothing but a hater. Once a hater, always a hater. Period. Yahweh says, Divine, I respect your integrity. Last message. Well, I appreciate you, bro. Tuning in during work, get off to work, dropping in that last little super chat, man. I appreciate every single one of you who has came in, jabbed the like button, commented, part of the conversation. And one thing that always helps not only the channel, but the message is sharing videos like this to your peers on Instagram and Facebook and things like that, and let people know what is being said. We are the alternative media. We are the alternative voice. And over here on Divine Sense Boxing, man, at the end of the day, I speak from the heart as much as I possibly can. And people don't agree with it. It is what it is, man. I can't make everybody happy. Only thing that I can do is be true to myself. And I quite honestly don't think that a lot of people are even true to themselves. And that's my personal opinion. But again, I appreciate every single one of you guys. Be good, be safe, stay strong. And I will be on here soon. I promise you the Caleb Plant Canelo prediction is coming. There's just a few little fine details that I'm working out because I want to make that prediction video epic because I think that fight is huge. Obviously, I've already made a video about Stevenson and Herring. I've already made my prediction. If you guys haven't seen that yet, drop in, hit the like button on that video, leave your prediction on that video as well. Who do you have winning in that fight, Herring or Stevenson? Go to that video just real quickly and let me know because I'm curious to hear who you think will win that fight, and hit that like button over there as well. And I'll be on here live again very, very soon. Keep your notifications on. YouTube be on those shenanigans, I'm telling you. Keep your notifications on, man, and it'll be good to see you guys on the next live stream. I appreciate you guys more than you know. Peace.